Okay, for the third time in a very short period, the battery on the Sequoia has died. My daughter went to drive it and got nothing. You can see even that little battery light in there dims when you turn the key. These map lights here, very dim. The only thing I can figure is the trunk was left open all day on all 3 occasions. And when the trunk is open, does it leave? It leaves these lights on. No, it doesn't. They just went off. Is there a light in here? No, I turned that to off. There are no interior lights on. So why, when you leave the trunk open, does it kill the battery? All right, well, let's test the battery. Topdon, if that's how you pronounce that, actually sent me this tester a long time ago and asked me if I'd make a video. And I said, if I have problems with a battery, I'll make a video, but I can't make any promises. Well, now I have problems with a battery. So let's test it. So you can see this is a very new battery. So 13 months old. 600 cold cranking amps, you probably can't see that. 750 regular cranking amps. So let's see how easy this thing is to figure out. There's no power on button that I can see. I think it says it's charged by the battery itself. So we'll go ahead and hook up red to the positive. Make sure it's on there good. And black to the negative. Sure enough, it's powering on. Now, if we press enter, and we're going to do number 1, a battery test. So we're just going to press enter again. It asks what kind of battery. It's not a glass mat or any of these other things. It is a regular flooded battery. So we'll just press enter again. Cold cranking amps. Let's see, it's 600 cold cranking amps. So we'll go up to 600, hit enter, power too low, whether to continue testing, enter. The status is before charging since the battery's dead. Healthy, 1%. It says 65 cold cranking amps at the moment. And no wonder it won't turn over. Charge is 0, 9.93 volts. Okay, and then the amber light is on here that says charge. So let's charge it and then retest. Actually, you know what? There is a charging test on there as well. So I'm gonna jump the engine and see if it'll start, and then we can immediately go into the charging test to make sure the alternator is doing what it's supposed to do. So I got my old-fashioned Harbor Freight battery charger here. I like these better than the digital ones. They're a little more reliable. And then a lot of times the digital ones just say, hey, I'm not even gonna try to charge, even if it's possible. At least that's my opinion. Before I plug it in, I'm gonna go ahead and hook the leads up. Positive to the red, it's got some bite there. Black to the negative. I'm gonna put this where it's not gonna fall into the engine. No cords are gonna get wrapped around any belts. I think that'll stay there. Right now it's on trickle charge, so I'm gonna go ahead and hook it up with it on trickle charge, but I wanna jump it, so I'm gonna flip it up here to the red, which is a 50 amp emergency start. But I'm not gonna leave it on that very long, so I'm gonna wait until I'm ready to crank it. So we'll flip it to the start. You can hear it really humming. Now the Sequoia actually has a charging indicator inside, or a battery indicator. It is definitely showing charging. since the battery should be at like 12.6 volts or so, it's showing probably about 14. So that means the alternator is charging, but we'll just do the test with the Topdon. Nothing on the display yet. Hook up the black and up and running again. Let's hit enter. Go down to charging test. Hit enter. Engine is started already. Press enter. It's doing a ripple test. Loaded testing. Increase RPM to 2500 and keep it 5 seconds. Press enter to continue. Hopefully I don't have to keep my eyes on this. Take you with me. So 2500 for 5 seconds. Oh, come on out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Press enter. .10 volts, 14.11 volts. Ripple 18 millivolts. Charging normal. So, alternator should be good, according to this. What other tests can we do? Let's review the data. We'll do a cranking test after the battery is fully charged. Okay, that's all we can do for now. So we're actually going to take this to go get a Christmas tree. So hopefully we'll make it there and back, be able to start it when we get there. I'm pretty sure we will. And if the battery looks good, we got to figure out why it's draining. Now we're half an hour from home and we have no jumper cables, so hopefully we can start it again.
This is, by the time you put it in a stand, this is how big. It has to fit on the stairs, don't forget. Pencil? You ready? You got it.
Hey, you get 3/4 of the way and I'll finish the job. I'm kidding. I can do it if you want me to.
No, I'm good. Can you cut a little on this side so that it doesn't split? Shit. Oh! Ah. Yay! Yay! No. Oh no.
Remember when you did that earlier? Kick her.
Look at Feisty manhandling those trees.
You won't need to
Oh
call
no!
when you study
Oh,
it.
no. Yeah, it's not that funny.
He wants me to bring the car around to load it up. Moment of truth. Yay! Perfect. All right, let's do a couple more tests. Battery should have got a good charge. We drove it for about an hour. Since we don't have it cranked yet, let's do a cranking test. Got 30 seconds to crank the engine. Stay right there. Well, I don't think that's great. 9.3 volts, cranking low. Do another battery test. We apparently got to turn it off because it's charging. Good battery. Health 90%, charge 82%, 12.49 volts. Internal resistance, is that what that is? What are our other options? I think we've done everything. So now we just need to figure out why it's losing a charge when I leave the tailgate open for a few hours. I've gone ahead and hooked up the battery charger just to make sure it's totally topped off before we try to diagnose exactly where this drain is coming from. This has been charging all night long, so it should be good and full. Before we do anything else, let's retest really quick. This should be 100% full. Well, I guess it really didn't show full. Wait a minute. I didn't even notice that while filming. Look at that. Why does that show 32% charged and a voltage of 12.19? That should be like 12.6. So 82% healthy. Let's go back and do that start test again. Voltage 8.53, cranking low. Let's do the charging test again. Well, let's figure out why we're leaking so much charge. Okay, this is a multimeter with an amp clamp. First, let's just check the voltage on the battery using the multimeter instead of the battery tester. Just turn this to volts, spread my probes out here. I'm going to put one on the negative and one on the positive. It is showing 12.52, which 12.5, 12.6 is normal voltage for a car battery. Now this part is an amp clamp, and what it does is it detects power that passes through it. So if we clamp this over one of the leads going to the battery, we'll know if power is being used by the battery when we don't want it to. Okay, well, something I just realized, the amps are alternating current only, so we can't even test the draw of this direct current battery. Just put my glasses on. That little squiggly is the alternating current symbol. So let's try something else. This probably won't work as well, but we're going to switch back to volts And I'm gonna look at the voltage again. We've already dropped to 12.45 since I had the headlights on and turned them back off. So what I'll do now is I'll open the rear hatch and we'll look at what the voltage does. Got everything turned off. No lights inside the car are on. The running board lights are off. It appears everything is off. Let's check the voltage on the battery. See, we've already dropped more. Well, it's fluctuating a little bit, but let's leave the tailgate open and come back in about 15 minutes and see what this looks like. Okay, it's actually been about 20 minutes. 12.40. So we are dropping. There is a current draw with that tailgate open. We'll come back in an hour just to be doubly sure. It actually has not been an hour yet, but I just want to see. Oh yeah, still dropping. There is another way to test for the amperage draw if you don't have an amp clamp, if your meter does detect DC amps, which this one doesn't. Okay, I found my other multimeter and this one does DC amps. That line right there with the dotted line under it stands for DC current, whereas like that wavy line right there is AC current. So here is another way to test for parasitic drain or some sort of drain on your battery. And if you were one of the 100 people who watched this video initially, which I pulled, you'll know I had my math all wrong when I was converting amps to milliamps, which is why I am re-uploading this video and redoing this section. To the rest of you who are watching this for the first time, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, first thing you want to do is disconnect your negative, preferably battery cable, set it to the side. We're gonna be testing for amps or milliamps. This side, this port right here only goes up to 200 milliamps. So just in case our values are gonna go higher than that, we're gonna stick it in the 10 amp. This is, I think, protected by a 10 amp fuse here. So we're gonna start high. We're gonna turn our dial over here to the 10 amp setting. And right now all the doors are closed and the trunk is closed, and we're gonna see what the draw is. So I'm going to put one lead on the battery terminal and one on the cable. Right now we're getting 0.10 to 0.12 amps, now 0.7. Milliamps is 1,000 of an amp, and I got this wrong initially. So say right now we're getting 0.03 amps. 0.03 would actually be 30 milliamps because you take the 0.03 and multiply it by 1,000 and you get 30 milliamps, which is okay. You can have up to 50 milliamps draw on these older cars, just normal parasitic drain. Now let's open the tailgate and see what we get. None of the interior lights are on, and the running board lights are not on. Nothing is on. We just have the tailgate open. We're going to put one lead on the battery post and one on the cable. We're getting anywhere from 19 to 22 or 0.19 to 0.22 of an amp, which is, you multiply, say that's 16, 17 by 1,000, 0.16 times 1,000 is 160 milliamps. With the tailgate open, we have a draw of 160 to 200 milliamps. Which is, you know, fairly significant. Fairly significant, but normal for having a tailgate open, apparently. So I've just got to not leave my tailgate open. I tried to see if there was a door switch in here somewhere. Like, here is a door switch. So when that is pressed, the car thinks the door is closed, so it turns off these lights after a while and goes to sleep. But on this tailgate, these are actually just like rubber bumpers here. There is no switch that I can see unless it is somehow built into this. So when the door is unlatched, this tells it that the door is open. So without messing with some wires in there, which could throw everything off and probably the security system and everything else, there's no way to disable this back door switch so that it thinks it's closed all the time and doesn't drain the battery. You might say, why do you even care about this? Well, I'm actually a handyman now, and when it's raining or Even when it's not raining, I would like to keep the tailgate open when I'm on a job so I can get in and out all day with my tools. And if it's raining, I can, get underneath this little shelter here and work on something I need to work on. Do a little glue up, put some fittings together, whatever I need to do before I take it out from under my shelter and go back to the house or whatever I'm working on. So I guess I'm just gonna have to live with it until I find another alternative. Anyway, now we're gonna head to my mother-in-law's house. She has a Ford F-150 that she thinks has a bad alternator. So we're gonna see if that Topdon battery tester can help us diagnose the problem. So we have another guinea pig for this battery tester today. Something's not going right here. This is suspected bad alternator. The battery's totally dead right now though, so we can't test anything, so I'm trying to charge it. So let's do that first. I don't know why it's not charging. It's plugged in. Okay, I tested the charger. The charger is working. I'm gonna remove this and let you see. It stays on 100 until it's actually charging. It's not charging right now. It's not doing anything. Even though it's on 100, that's just its resting phase. And this isn't plugged in. It stays on the 100. When you plug it in and it's working or it's on, if the battery's drawing a charge, this will jump down a little bit. So something is wrong with this battery. Let's put the tester on it. Okay, got out the tester. Set it up here. Sorry I don't have my tripod. I got that hooked up. And nothing. Can't even read it. Which makes me think there's a connection that's broken in here. Alright, well we need to take this battery back. This is only a year old. So we got the receipt, so we'll take that back and see what we can find out.
Alright, I'll put a note on it.
Alright, so let's try this tester again. Get it over these terminals. Alright. Check connecting. There we go. We know it's going to crank. Let's just do a charging test to make sure that the alternator is working. Okay, you can start it. Okay, you good. So the alternator is okay.